Hey there, I'm Jennifer Valor, your productivity coach and your host of the Child Free Biz Cafe, the podcast where child-free entrepreneurs redefine success on their terms. In each episode, I sit down with inspiring business owners and creators, exploring their unique journeys, challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned. Passionate about the incredible fulfillment of the child-free lifestyle, we'll chat over our favorite coffee or tea in our virtual cafe. From entrepreneurs to artists, we uncover secrets to success, share practical tips, and celebrate all these diverse paths in the child-free life. So get ready for insightful conversations, empowering stories, and a community that embraces their child-free life. This is the Child-Free Biz Cafe, where fulfillment and happiness meets entrepreneurship. I'm excited. I'll be talking with Asia Dore, Child Free by Choice, and the No Bullshit Brand Strategist. Hi, Asia. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jennifer. This is such a good way to start the week, so thank you for having me.
Of course. Not a bad way to start a Monday.
No, it's really not, especially because I have my coffee and this is the
Yes.
cafe, so we're
Oh,
doing great.
So tell us about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name is Asia. I am a brand strategist, which basically means I help entrepreneurs discover and leverage and communicate what makes them unique so they can stand out as really the go-to experts in their industry. Branding is such a powerful tool, but there's so much misinformation and confusing information out there that just makes it seem like way more complicated and overwhelming than it actually is. So I'm really on a mission to simplify the concept of branding so that every business owner can use their brand as a mechanism to grow their business and therefore increase their impact.
I love that. Yeah, that's so important. So I'm so glad we're talking about that today.
Me too.
But before we really get started, share more about your child-free story, about your child-free journey.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really feel like a journey to me because it was the kind of thing where, growing up, I kind of just assumed I would have kids because that's just what you did. As I got older and I started getting to the age where it's like, okay, maybe you should start thinking about kids, it just didn't ever click for me. It wasn't ever something that was like, I have to decide if I want this or not. It was just like, that just doesn't sound like very much fun. And I don't know why that is. A lot of my friends had kids at a really young age, so maybe that made a difference, just being around kids when I was younger. It just doesn't seem that much fun. I love my life without someone depending on me for survival. I love to have more freedom with my time and my energy. I'm very much an introvert, so I love my alone time. I guess the journey part was really feeling confident in explaining my choice to other people without having to justify it. I mean, we get so much pressure as young people, but specifically as women, to reproduce. And so sometimes there were some difficult conversations about like, no, I don't want to do this. And, feeling like I had to justify it. So the journey, I think, was in realizing I didn't have to justify it. That could just be the way it is. And either you accept me that way or you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of us are still working on who have made that decision, confident in that. It's just, we don't have to justify anything. Like, no is enough.
Exactly. And I always tell people, like, I don't want a kid in the same way I don't want a cat. Like
That's fair.
I'm not a cat person. It doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound like it'll mesh with my lifestyle. I don't have anything against cats. I don't have anything against kids. It's just that I don't want one.
Yeah.
And that's
It's just
okay.
not for you. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So how has being child-free improved your freedom and resources in your career and business?
I mean, I think the coolest part for me has been that I still get to be the main character. I still get to be the center of my own universe. I don't mean that necessarily in a vain way, although maybe a little bit, but I can really focus on myself. I can focus on my health and my personal development and my hobbies and then my relationships, my lifestyle. But I guess specifically in business, it means that I can pour the energy that I would have to pour into a child into my business. I can nurture my business. I have the energy, I have the excitement to show up for my business. And I think is really helpful for someone like me who I love what I do. I love working. Working makes me feel good, right? Achieving success in my career makes me feel good. So being able to put energy into that and not feel guilty that it's taking away from another area of my life, it just makes my work even more fulfilling.
So what does success mean to you then?
I think that my definition kind of changes and evolves depending on my specific goals for that time. But I think at the end of the day, success means achieving the things that I want to achieve on my terms.
Yeah.
Is that a wishy-washy answer?
No, that's pretty much mine too.
Okay.
Yeah. And that just proves it means different things to different people.
Absolutely.
So how did you become a brand strategist?
Well, I started my business back in 2014 as a photographer. And over those years, I slowly started evolving into different types of photography. I eventually found myself at brand photography, which was really exciting because I got to work with other entrepreneurs, other business owners. So we got to, share that excitement in working together. As I worked with more and more clients, I realized that a lot of entrepreneurs didn't actually understand their brand. They didn't understand what their brand was or what goals they had for their brand. And therefore, as someone who was taking an intangible abstract concept and turning it into a visual medium, it was really difficult because I can't make photographs for you if you don't know what you want the photographs to invoke, right? So I realized that a lot of these clients were missing the strategy piece. They were missing the brand strategy piece. So that became part of the work that I did as a photographer in order to give them the images that they deserved. And then slowly I started realizing, oh, actually the strategy part is a lot more exciting to me than the photography part at that point. So I just kind of started to phase the photography part out and was left with just the strategy.
That's awesome. It's never what you think it is. And then you just have to try different things and you have to let it evolve and trust the process.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to have goals. It's great to have a path, but I think it's so important to just also sort of go with the flow and trust your intuition and do the things that are exciting to you because you just never know where you're going to end up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You just kind of hit a point on what goal setting means to me as a productivity coach is that it's a guide. It's not set in stone. It can be for a little bit, but ultimately it's a guideline and you're allowed to take detours. And so it's okay. So that's so glad you did that and found something you enjoy even more.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's the process of it that we have to learn to lean into, right? Like even failures aren't usually failures. They're just nudging us in a different direction that we're supposed to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why is it important to create a brand as a business owner or creator?
The thing about branding is that you can absolutely build a totally profitable business without building a brand. But for the kind of entrepreneurs that I work with, at least, they don't have a business just to make money. They don't have a business just to trade their time and get a paycheck in return, right? Because if they did, they would just go get a job. So the reason they have a business is because they decided they want to use a very specific skill set in a very specific way. They don't want to be crammed into a job description that, kind of sort of lines up with their strengths. So they want to be creative. They want to problem solve. They want to use their strengths. They want to make ethical decisions. I think that's a really big one. They want to choose, where are you sourcing your products? What wages are you paying your employees? They want to legitimately help people. And they also don't want to compromise their values or their personality or even their vision about where they're going, right? And the thing is, building a business doesn't guarantee any of that.
No.
But building a brand does, because a brand empowers you to set and stick to your own standards of how you do business. And therefore, it sets the expectation in the mind of your audience about what working with you will be like. And the result of that is having the business you actually want, instead of just constantly catering to the whims of others because you want to make money.
Yeah, I think that's also where our people pleasing and self-awareness really comes in too.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of self-discovery that needs to happen when it comes to branding, that's for sure.
And it can be really exciting. Never know what you could actually do.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. There's a world of possibilities for all of us and who we're going to be.
Yeah. So how did sharing about your choice to be child-free a pivotal moment in building your own personal brand?
I started my business, like I said, as a photographer in a very, very small town. So maybe because of that, I ended up doing a lot of family photography. And in no way was I marketing myself as a family photographer. It's just that I was the photographer in the small town, so it inevitably happened. And even though my clients were all very lovely, you know, they showed up to their sessions on time, they paid their invoices, they were nice, I really just started to resent the work I was doing and my business as a whole because I just didn't enjoy family photography. I just didn't. Inevitably, during these shoots, like at least 1 in 3 shoots, I would get asked when I'm having kids, right? This, I guess people, you know, view that as small talk. And sometimes I would say, oh, maybe someday, I'm not really sure yet, and just kind of, you know, play vanilla on it, stay neutral, don't want to offend anybody. But eventually I remember I had an extended family session, and it was a stressful session, and I got asked that. And I think I just kind of reached my breaking point with it. I went home that night and I wrote a blog post, and it was a pretty polarizing and passionate blog post that was basically, stop asking women this question.
Yeah.
Don't ask them it at all, because they might not want kids. They might also have lost a child. They might also have been trying to have a child for years and not be able to. They might be have been trying to adopt forever, whatever it is, right? It's not an okay question to ask. And I was a little nervous to hit publish because, like I said, it's a small town. I didn't want to offend people. Everybody knows everyone, right? I didn't want to like blacklist myself, be like, don't work with Asia, she's, you know, rude or whatever it was. I was terrified of that. But I hit publish. I felt like that it's something I just had to do. And I was so shocked because like the next day I woke up to all of these comments from so many people that were just completely supportive of the idea, not only from other child-free people, but also from other parents, other mothers who were like, hell yeah, like yes to this. And the thing that I realized is that my post wasn't really about not having kids. It wasn't about my choice to be child-free. It wasn't even really about stop asking people when they're going to have kids. I realized it was actually about values. It was about the freedom of choice. And that's when I realized it was okay to be more of myself in my business. It was okay to share more of my beliefs in my business. I didn't have to wear a mask. I didn't have to put on an act. I didn't have to stay neutral out of fear of offending people. Because once I started letting my personality show, that's when, and talking about the things that I actually cared about instead of like the weather, because the weather's not going to offend anyone, right? That's when my business really took off, because I actually started enjoying marketing. And because of that, I was able to connect with the right people.
Oh, good. Yes. That's kind of how just putting the podcast thing out there kind of happened to me as well. Of course, in a different way, but yeah, it's just being confident with who you are. And if they don't like it, oh well, you don't want to work with them anyway. And it helps people who, or find your tribe kind of thing, they'll find you.
It's true. And actually, I'm curious how, when you decided, like, okay, I'm going to be a productivity coach for child-free entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what has shifted in your business since you made that conscious decision.
It's made the messaging a lot easier. It's a very specific keyword, so that helps with
That
SEO.
is very true. Yeah, for searching.
I don't know, it was like a weight was taken off. And I'm like, yes, these are my people, and I am just going to completely support them, and that's all that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, everything else can just like wash away into the peripherals because now you are focused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of productivity is mainly focused around parents. I mean, which makes sense, and the corporate life, or men with a wife who's stuck at home. I can't relate to any of that. So I wanted to start creating content for my particular lifestyle and values. And I started finding the child-free community, and we started connecting more. And I've just met some amazing people. So yeah, branding is very important for sure.
Yeah, no, that's great. And just, yeah, you describing the weight being lifted off. But I love that you saw a gap for yourself
Hmm.
and realized, oh, well, if this is a gap for me, it's probably a gap for other people. So I'm going to use
Yeah.
my business to fill that gap. Love that.
Yeah. So what valuable lessons did this teach you about why it's important to be ourselves in business if we want to attract our ideal clients?
I think really just the idea that building a genuine brand based on your actual values and strengths and personalities is going to be so much more effective than manufacturing an identity to try to please people that you don't even want to work with in the first place. But also, like, this makes sense on an internal level because it's going to make business feel a lot better when you're not
Hmm.
pretending to be someone else. You know, like you just said, like a weight was lifted off. So it's going
Yeah.
to make business more fun and feel better. But it also makes sense because your brand isn't for you, it's for your ideal
Hmm.
clients. So, of course, they're going to be attracted to what's actually genuine. Like, we are, like, people are smart. We
Hmm.
see through fake, we see through bullshit, we see through all of that. So, we are gravitated towards things that are actually genuine and real and relatable.
Oh, absolutely. I think another thing that helps for my personal branding is that a lot of productivity coaches are naturally organized and all that stuff, but I'm not. I'm a recovering procrastinator. I thought I was organized because I had a paper planner all my life. And then when I had my coffee drive-throughs 2011, 2015, I realized really quick I was not organized at all, hardly. And I had to own operate that, pick up supplies, have an employee, do all the marketing, do all the networking myself. So I had to get super, super organized, and it was a lot of trial and error. So that's
Mm.
kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. And how amazing that you went through that trial and error process,
Yeah,
but now you can help other people move through that same process so much more efficiently.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's one thing you want everyone to take away with today?
The one thing I want people to take away is the things that you think make you like different or a rebel or maybe even an outcast or like outside of the mainstream of society, like being child free in
Hmm.
2024, for example. Those are often the things you really need to leverage in order to stand out,
Yep.
right? So the stuff that you're scared to say because you don't want to offend people. And I'm not saying you should purposefully want to offend people. I'm just saying you should be saying what you're saying with so much belief and conviction that if people happen to get offended in the process, so be it,
Hmm.
because you're not talking to them, right?
Right.
The beliefs that you're scared to stand for because you don't want to alienate your audience. You don't want people to unfollow you or, right, block you. the boundaries that you're scared to enforce because you don't want clients to be mad at you, right? All of that stuff. I just want to encourage you to really lean into it because, like I said, it will help you stand out. And the thing is, you don't have to stand out to everybody. You just have to stand out to your ideal clients. So say the things that they are going to connect with. Say the things that are going to resonate with them. And everybody else, they don't really matter.
Yeah, they can fuck off.
Bye.
Yeah. I think that's why it was also so important for me to start the YouTube channel and now the podcast. Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you for doing that. I'm so proud of you. And I'm really excited to start listening to when they start coming out more frequently.
Yeah. So how can we connect with you?
Okay, so I would really love to invite your listeners, or I guess / watchers, right? Because this will be on YouTube. I would love to invite anyone to join me for a totally free brand audit or get together for 30 minutes via Zoom. And I know that a brand audit doesn't sound very fun because it's an audit, but it is actually really fun because we're going to work together to determine whether your brand is actually communicating your expertise. We're going to brainstorm new ways to leverage what actually makes you unique. And then we're going to decide on 3 really simple and practical changes that you can make to start grabbing the attention of your ideal clients.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, audits aren't scary. They're fun.
They're not scary. They're fun because they give you direction, right? They give you something to stick to, and then they help you build a path to get there. So if you're interested in booking that, it's just at my website, asiadore.com/brand audit.
Yep. And I'll put the descriptions and everything below also.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's a wrap for today's episode. Huge thanks for Asia for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and send this to your child-free friends. You can connect with me on social media as Productively Child Free all across the board. And remember, you're not alone. Until next time, stay amazing and live life your way.